sound of your alarm, it's time to cross the line. Oh, somebody stop me, stop me, stop me, please, somebody stop me, stop me, oh, somebody stop me. And Lord, if I'm doing it wrong, then please stop me. Stop me. Stop me.
We welcome you back to Jacksonville. A lot to think about for the Broncos this week after that heartbreaking loss Sunday night at home to Kansas City, and they woke up Monday morning in very unfamiliar territory on the outside looking in terms of the AFC playoff picture. There's their head coach, Gary Kubiak. A lot of scrutiny on his decision to attempt that 62-yarder at the end of that game the other night against the Chiefs, and his counterpart, Gus Bradley. The record certainly speaks for itself as Bradley continues to have to answer questions about what his future holds in store at the end of the season here in northeastern Florida. Meantime, there is Trevor Siemian kind of in the middle of the picture behind that first row. Siemian, their starting quarterback, out today, sprained his left foot, Solomon, at the end of that overtime against the Chiefs. And so Paxton Lynch and Denver will have the football to start. Jaguars defer, and they will kick.
Almost like last year when the Denver Broncos had to use two quarterbacks by the name of Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler, and now it's two young quarterbacks making plays this year.
This is Khalif Raymond, signed off of their practice squad this week, had a terrific preseason and rewarded today with some of the injuries that they have. And here is Paxton Lynch, a couple of hours away from his hometown of Deltona, grew up just outside Orlando. This is his first road start, second start after being taken 26th overall. John Elway traded up to take him, liked his tools and certainly his ability. Here are the starters up front. This offensive line has been a question mark. Donald Stevenson benched last week, back in his starting role today. And Emmanuel Sanders, season high 162 yards in that loss to the Chiefs and a touchdown last Sunday night. They begin with a running play to Devontae Booker, the rookie fourth-round pick out of Utah, tackled by Telvin Smith, a pickup of a couple. Big day for Malik Jackson, the former Bronco who won a Super Bowl with them just a few months ago, signed that massive free agent contract in March. Paul Posluszny among the league leaders in tackles, former Pro Bowler in 2013, and the back end of this defense much improved. Jalen Ramsey, fifth overall pick, starting to come into his own as he contends with these two terrific wide receivers for Denver. Quick strike through the hands of Demaryius Thomas, and that will set up a 3rd and 8. What a moment for Paxton Lynch. First saw him in the second half of that Week 4 game against Tampa Bay, again here in the state of Florida. Elway liked what he saw from him, a 3-year starter at Memphis, traded up, gave Seattle that 3rd-round pick to take him, and all eyes on him, Solomon, a big critical early 3rd down play.
Yeah, Week 5 in his first career start against the Atlanta Falcons, sacked 6 times in that game, has to do better today.
Lynch is going to fire quickly, and that pass off target, intended for Sanders, a little bit low as Lynch took a shot.
Oh, this pass could have been thrown better. Now he was under pressure, but already early on, feeling the heat from this Jacksonville Jaguar defense. That ball not placed right on the receiver, Emmanuel Sanders, as he came out of his break.
So Denver forced to punt. This is Riley Dixon, their 7th-round pick out of Syracuse, a rookie. And Brian Walters standing back right around his own 20. Walters is going to play it, breaks the initial tackler, juking defenders, and is able to wiggle his way ahead to the 20. Good-looking punt, 58 yards, and a return of 4. As Blake Bortles comes onto the field, you see what Bortles has done this season, averaging about 250 passing yards, only a $126 last week. But did run for a career-high 81 yards in a game that Jacksonville probably should have won. Chris Reed makes a 2nd straight start at left guard. Patrick Omameh, of course, placed on IR. And Marquise Lee, no Allen Hurns today. But even before Hurns went down, Lee had emerged as really their number 2 wide receiver over the past couple of weeks. No Chris Ivory, no Julius Thomas for a 2nd straight week. Here's Denard Robinson. Running play on 1st down to get them going, as Robinson picks up 3 to the 23-yard line. Defensively, this unit coached by Wade Phillips features Derek Wolfe up front, 5.5 sacks on the season. He and Von Miller, the highest sack duo in the league, 18 between them. What a year it's been for Von Miller. leads the league in sacks, and Aqib Talib, who actually played a season under Gus Bradley in Tampa Bay as a rookie back in 2008, going up against his former defensive assistant coach. Bortles going to throw it on 2nd and 7. That pass a little bit too high. And an interesting matchup, Sam, between Bortles and this no-fly zone secondary in the Denver defense.
Yeah, it almost looks like a mismatch. This Broncos defense, they're a true heavyweight. Look at this. First in the NFL in terms of completion percentage allowed. First in the NFL, allowing the fewest passing yards, and then they have the most sacks of any defense in the NFL. That's what Blake Bortles is facing. And even without Chris Ivory, I believe Jacksonville has to stay committed to the running game. This Denver Broncos defense is just too good to drop back and think you're going to throw it on every single down. You've got to be able to keep them off balance, and you got to be able to run the football.
Some discussion now between the officials. Looks like an injured Jaguar player is Brandon Linder. He's their starting center. Linder, the former third-round pick out of Miami, 3rd season in the NFL. And this is an offense, as we just talked about, Solomon, that is thin at a couple of the skill positions. Keep in mind, TJ Yeldon, who is up today, is not 100% either. He's dealing with an ankle injury. And so Linder, at least for the moment, will come off. And Tyler Shatley will come in at center. So this is certainly not the start that Gus Bradley and Nathaniel Hackett were hoping for. Here's another look at that last play when Linder got hurt.
There's the center right there. Let's take a look as he gets knocked back here. Can't really see where the injury occurred.
So Shatley, whom they signed as an undrafted rookie back in May, as a penalty marker is thrown.
Ball start, offense, number 68. 5-yard penalty, 3rd down.
Craig Rolstad, our officiating crew. You see call among the fewest penalties on average per game. It was Kelvin Beachum, the man penalized for Jacksonville. So 3rd and 12 after the penalty. They mark it just inside their 18. Yeldon flanks Bortles, who has thrown the most interceptions on 3rd down in the league this season. Quick strike. It was caught by the tight end, Neil Sterling, well short of the 1st down. They needed the 30. So the injury to Linder, then the penalty, kind of shoots Jacksonville in its own foot. A pickup of 6, and they will punt.
Yeah, you know, when we talked to Jaguars head coach Gus Bradley, what did he tell us? Hey, sometimes we're going to have to live with a punt. That's a good play because they don't want to get into a situation where they're turning the football over and putting Paxton Lynch and the Broncos offense on a short field.
Well, what a moment, meantime, for Khalif Raymond, who we told you just a couple of minutes ago signed off their practice squad this week. Awarded by Gary Kubiak for all the great work he's put in with the scout team during the season. This is a big spot for him as he watches this one take a Jacksonville bounce inside the 15. He's going to play it from around the 11 and is punished. So shaky moment for Raymond, a 65-yard punt for Jacksonville. All right, there is the starting center for Jacksonville, Brandon Linder. You see the update. It's an ankle injury. He'll try to walk through it. And Tyler Shatley, 3 years into his Jacksonville career, is their center, at least for the moment. So here is Paxton Lynch back on the field. Play action pass as he works from the gun. He'll throw it across his body on the run and completes to Demaryius Thomas for a pickup of 14 yards and a Denver 1st down. Oh, what makes Monday TV's best night of comedy? Kevin Can Wait, Man with a Plan, Two Broke Girls, and The Big Bang Theory. It's all tomorrow, starting at 8, 7 Central, only CBS. Good-looking throw by Lynch. Saw him throwing across his body to find Thomas.
But they were able to get him out on the edge of the defense to create a clear passing lane where he can make good decisions.
Lynch working under center, hit on the release. That one squirts out of his hands and somehow is able to find its way to its intended target. That's the tight end, A.J. Derby, who's come on. It's a pickup of 8.
Well, watch number 95, Avery Jones, right here. He'll come and get the hit on Lynch, and that's why that ball comes out wobbly. Still, what a great catch. But there's the pressure there. Jones is able to hit that arm of Paxton Lynch. And look at the coverage, tight coverage by Miles Jack. Not much margin for error on that play.
Jaguars showing corner blitz. Broncos pick it up. This is Booker on 2nd and 7. So Devontae Booker, the rookie, 5th start since the injury to C.J. Anderson back in October. And Booker has come on. The coaches challenged him to run a little bit better before last week, and Kubiak said it was probably his best game.
Well, you know what? He's improved. A 4th-round pick. He's a rookie out of Utah. Eric Studesville, there's his running back coach. I expect better things from Booker in the second half of the season. You know what we say about rookies? Once you get into the second half of the season, you're no longer a rookie.
Booker getting the blow here on 3rd and 4. Lynch from the gun where he's so comfortable. Fires and finds Thomas yet again. It's a first down for Denver, a pickup of 10. Tackled on the play by the rookie Jalen Ramsey. What a matchup, Solomon, between those two.
Absolutely. Jalen Ramsey has played well. He's gotten better. And he's no longer a rookie, but he's got his hands full going up against Demaryius Thomas, who's a big-bodied receiver, catches the ball right in front of him. You know, the production has been down for both Thomas and Sanders, but yet and still both are trending towards another 1,000-yard season for both of them.
Thomas approaching 800 yards for the season. Leads the Broncos with his 5 touchdown catches. One play called on first down to Booker. And we asked, just to get back to C.J. Anderson, Kubiak, about what a loss he is. And we know about the production of Anderson, Solomon, but Kubiak lamented his presence in the huddle that they've lacked, and it really has been something they've had to battle through offensively.
And we talk about the fact that the Broncos have allowed the 5th most sacks of any team in the NFL. You see the numbers with and without C.J. Anderson. But he's great in terms of pass protection and helping to protect the quarterback. And then he's an outlet in terms of catching the ball out of the backfield as a check down receiver.
This is 2nd and 9. Capri Bibbs comes on and running back. Play action from Lynch. And the 6'7" quarterback is tackled around the ankles by Senderick Marks, the 8th-year defensive tackle out of Auburn. It's a loss of 2.
Well, we said this offensive line has really struggled this year. There you see Marks, number 99. Look at the pressure. But I like the way Paxton Lynch is climbing the pocket. He didn't continue to drift, and even though he was sacked on the play, only lost 1 yard on the play. Had he continued to drift back in the pocket, could have been a loss for much more yards. Now on 3rd and 11, he's got to be able to make a play and maintain his poise.
Booker lines up in the slot right side, and it's Booker who makes the low catch, breaks the initial tackle. Needed to get the Jacksonville 49 for the first down. He's well short, a pickup of only a yard. And so the 2nd straight offensive possession to start this game for Denver. That will end in a punt.
Todd Wash, defensive coordinator for Jacksonville, he's bringing the house coming after Paxton Lynch. I think Lynch did just a good job of not turning the ball over and maintained his poise because pressure was right on him immediately.
Riley Dixon on the punt yet again. With just over 8 minutes to play. Walters signals fair catch, and this one will take a Jacksonville bounce. They'll have it at the 20 with Bortles.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. McDonald's. I'm loving it. And by DirecTV. If you call yourself a sports fan, you gotta get DirecTV.
Oh, it's a great setting for the young NFL fans in attendance, and I can't say that pool is heated. So I did feel it myself earlier this morning. It is a lovely place to watch a football game here at Everbank Field. Spiro Vita, Solomon Wilcox back with you on 1st and 10, 2nd offensive possession for Jacksonville. We mentioned some of the notable injuries that they are dealing with offensively. No Chris Ivory, their running back and leading rusher. Julius Thomas, the former Bronco, also Solomon unable to play with that back out a 2nd straight week.
Yeah, I think it's critical because Chris Ivory is their power inside runner, and without him, T.J. Yeldon averaging less than 4 yards per carry, and Denard Robinson, a much smaller runner, trying to attack this Broncos defense.
And so far it has been Robinson, their featured running back, with Yeldon not at full strength himself. Active, but dealing with that ankle injury. And so a lot of issues that their new offensive coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett, has had to work through since taking over Solomon for Greg Olson about 4.5 weeks ago.
But Spiro, since Nathaniel Hackett has become the offense coordinator. The one thing he has done is stay committed to the running game. 180-plus rushing yards in 2 of their last 4 games since Hackett has become the OC. He's going to stay committed to the running game despite not having Chris Ivory.
Can Bortles make some plays on 3rd down against this vaunted Denver defense? 3rd and a yard. They need the 30. Bortles quick drop, throwing far side of the field, intended for Allen Robinson as they go against Bradley Roby, the 3rd-year corner, and former first-round pick out of Ohio State, who played that one perfectly.
This ball's going to be thrown high. Looking for Allen Robinson, ball thrown high. You've got to put it where your guy can get it. Good coverage by Bradley Roby. The Broncos have 3 really good corners. We know about Aqib Talib and we know about Chris Harris Jr., but former first-round pick Bradley Roby, he's coming to his own.
And he's part of the future for certain with this Denver defense as Norton boots it away, the 50-year punter. A little bit shaky on that last punt, and he takes a lick yet again. 50 yards on the punt and a return of only 1. Aurelius Ben. Tuesday, if you think Dr. Jason Bull is trouble, wait until you meet his ex-wife. Michael Weatherly stars in TV's #1 news show, Bull. New episode Tuesday after NCIS, only CBS. Beautiful downtown Jacksonville, week 13 in the NFL. Solomon, we were not expecting a lot of offense, and so far your prediction has held true.
Bring it out.
Paxton Lynch, the Florida native, under center, quick strike, and finds Sanders for a first down pass play. Sanders out past the 30, a pickup of a dozen, and a couple of pretty good targets for Lynch to throw to and get comfortable.
Yeah, and I like Lynch letting it fly. Hit the top of his drop. That ball came out with great certainty and accuracy. He's got 2 talented receivers now who can make some plays for him.
400th reception of Sanders' career. The leader in catches and yards receiving once again this season. 1st and 10. One play called to Booker as Lynch, Solomon, starting to show some comfort. He's completed his last 5 passes in a row, and Kubiak just wanted to get him comfortable in the early part of this game, and we're starting to see that.
Yeah, and the key really for this offense is to get the run game going. That's why it's important for Devontae Booker to be successful, particularly on early downs. They can get the run game going, then you have play action pass. You have the bootlegs and the rollouts. It really is tailored to the abilities of Paxton Lynch.
Quick snap, 2nd and 8, that pass is caught. Demaryius Thomas brought down right around the 40, a pickup of 6. First update, JB and Boomer.
All right, Spiro, 2 hot teams. All right, down 7-0. The Chiefs come back. Spencer Ware, 3 yards. Touchdown run, key play, 35-yard completion to tight end Travis Kelce. KC kicker Cairo Santos misses the extra points. Falcons lead 7-6, and the Falcons are driving inside the 5-yard line right now.
All right, back to Spiro Ditas.
All right, guys, Broncos fans certainly keeping close tabs on that one, with the Chiefs a game in front in that very, very tough AFC West. Lynch dropping back, pump fakes right. Where does he go on 3rd and 2? Putting some air under it. Up the field, boy, it was right there through the hands of Virgil Green. Would have been a tough catch, but Lynch giving his guy at least a chance.
You know, he also had his running back, Bibbs, wide open in the flat to his left, but then here, look, keeping his head up. I think he put the ball in really good position for Virgil Green to come down with it. Just a little bit beyond the reach of Virgil Green.
Aaron Colvin, the man who was on the coverage. So here's Riley Dixon again, already his 3rd punt. And that last touchback, only his 2nd in his last 39 punts. Another fair catch signaled by Walters, 46 yards on this punt. Still.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Dodge. Domestic, not domesticated. And by FedEx, helping small businesses simplify e-commerce.
You know, the Jags and Broncos met in the playoffs 2 straight seasons. First in 96, Jacksonville upset the #1 seeded Broncos, and the following year, 97, Broncos won it en route to John Elway's first Super Bowl championship. On 1st down, one play called to Robinson. Brandon Linder, their starting center, still being looked at. They are retaping his ankle on the sideline. So Tyler Shatley still their center at the moment. And we haven't seen much, Solomon, of TJ Yeldon yet. You have to think that ankle has given him some concern. So they are very thin at running back.
Very thin at running back, thin on the offensive line. And it's not good when you're trying to move this stout and sturdy Denver Broncos defensive line.
Bortles under center. That's Marquise Lee in motion on 2nd and 7. They keep it on the ground again. Robinson, who entered the day with only 20 rushes on the season. Back to New York, JB and Boomer.
Flacco leading with his arm.
He is, JB, and maybe they're just getting hot at the right time. Joe Flacco to Dennis Pitta, 13 yards. That's the second touchdown on the pass of the day for Joe Flacco. He's 11 of 14, 136 yards, 2 touchdowns. Ravens lead 14-0.
And that's a hot Miami team they're doing it against, Spiro.
Yeah, a lot of people wondering, Solomon, if Miami could keep it up, but right now already down a couple of touchdowns. So here is Bortles on 3rd and 6. This Denver defense so good in these kinds of situations. Bortles fires and finds his man. That's Brian Walters breaking tackles. Out past the 30. It's a first down on the catch and run. A pickup of 14 yards for the 5th-year man out of Cornell.
Well, Walters is always a good option. You'll see him lined up to the left of the screen right here. He'll just come out there. Bortles goes through his progressions, able to get Walters. Walters alertly understands where that first down marker is. Able to break one tackle and extend for the first down. Now it looks like they've got some movement on offense. They want to use the quick hitting pass game because they know this pass rush can be on the quarterback in a hurry.
Only the 3rd catch all season for Walters. Draw play called as the give is taken by Robinson. You try to evaluate Blake Bortles, Solomon. It's just hard to do that with the running game being so inconsistent. I know you mentioned that the numbers have gotten a little bit better. But we know Bortles hasn't been the same quarterback he was a year ago when he set franchise records for yards and touchdowns.
Still 55 touchdowns over the last 2 years. I think it tells you that you've got plenty to work with at the quarterback position.
Another run play called here on 2nd and 6. And a lot of decisions that this franchise will have to make. They certainly think that they have their quarterback here in the long term in Bortles, but Gus Bradley still dogged by the questions about his future in Jacksonville. We asked him about it, and he said, you know, I don't believe in worrying, and that statement kind of sums up who Gus Bradley is as a man.
Always positive, glass is always half full with Gus Bradley.
Hey, Mike's 31. Mike's 31. 31.
See the balance so far in their play calling. Where do they go here on 3rd and 6? Bortles has time. Good pass protection. That one is deflected and caught. Neil Sterling. First down, Jacksonville. Not exactly how they drew it up, but they'll take the 17 yards and move the chains.
Pressure provided by Von Miller. Look at that nice spin move. Trying to get pressure, and Bortles has to move away from him, smartly and rightly so. Watch him move to his left. Still has his head down the field, as that pass originally was intended for Walters, and then Sterling comes down with it. Sometimes it's better to be lucky than good.
Sterling, who began the season as a wide receiver before converting to tight end. This is Robinson trying to find some daylight. Easier said than done against this defensive front for Denver. Brandon Marshall and Todd Davis on the tackle. Marshall, who was drafted in the 5th round by Jacksonville back in 2012, cut by this franchise 3 different times. Did not hide the fact that he was looking forward to this one today.
Oh, he's become a player. And that's one good thing you could say, a lot of good things you could say about the Broncos, but their ability to not only draft, but to develop talent speaks to really good coaching.
Could be the final play of the quarter. Bortles on 2nd and 9. We know he's dangerous with his feet. That pass intended for Robinson is incomplete. And it will be 3rd and 9 coming up.
Bortles, he and his receiver were trying to ad-lib a little bit, but look, this ball, it was catchable. I mean, it wasn't going to be an easy one for Robinson, but certainly, you know what we say, if you could touch it, you could catch it, right?
Mm-hmm. Well, Robinson, who had that Pro Bowl season a year ago, 1,400 yards receiving, tied for the league lead with 14 touchdowns, just has not been the same player so far in 2016. 9 seconds left in the quarter. Ninth play of the drive on 3rd and 9. Bortles hit on a release. And that one is incomplete, trying to locate Marquise Lee, but that pressure now starting to pick up some steam for Denver. And the Jags once again will punt.
Derek Wolfe. He's one of the best interior defensive linemen in the National Football League. Number 95, pushing the pocket, providing that pressure, and then coverage on the back end by Aqib Talib was excellent. The margin for error very slim against this Denver Broncos defense. They are so good in terms of the trenches and pass rush, and then getting coverage on the back end. One wrong mistake can lead to a turnover.
Lead the league in sacks. Salmon has talked about their pass rush ability. We know what they've done with their pass defense. As this one takes a bounce inside the 10. That takes us to the end of the first. We'll return to Jacksonville after these messages. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Well, NFL players certainly champions on the field and off as they support the causes they care about in hopes of making a positive change in our world. This week they will proudly display the charitable causes that they champion on their game day cleats. Discover their personal tributes at NFL.com/mycause.mycleats. Great initiative put forth by the league and its players here in week number 13. So here is Paxton Lynch again on first down. Not much to talk about with this offense. He has completed 6 of his first 9 passes, 46 yards. Salman, what have you seen so far from Lynch?
Well, what Gary Kubiak told us is that his team has to play better around Paxton Lynch. He's not putting it all on the rookie quarterback. He understands this is a tough place, tough environment, and real tough defense. And so that means they have to run the ball much better than what we've seen so far. That means the receiver's going to have to make plays, and the defense has to come up with turnovers.
Lynch on 2nd and 5. That pass for Sanders is incomplete. We first saw Lynch in the second half of that Week 4 game in Tampa when Trevor Siemian hurt his shoulder. Then he started the following week in Atlanta. Didn't play nearly as well as he did in that first game. And here he is in his 3rd appearance and 2nd career start, a couple of hours away from where he grew up.
And because this offensive line is really struggling, they're now looking at a 3rd and 5. You can see what he's done so far in terms of the first 10 pass attempts. Still pretty good, only 4 incompletions. And I think they've got to move the pocket because of his athleticism to get him out on the edges and create some clear vision, clear passing lanes down the field.
From the gun, he throws and incomplete. Once again looking in the direction of Sanders, and Lynch continues to take some shots.
Both quarterbacks are getting hit. Uniforms are getting dirty. Take a look here. Paxton Lynch is going to look to his right, but they're running stunts. They're bringing the house. Able to get it out early, but he had to. Didn't want to take that hit as pressure was closing in on him. He's forced to throw the ball early, not in sync with the intended receiver.
And there are interestingly similarities between this defense coached by Gus Bradley and the one that he faced against Atlanta at home. Dan Quinn, of course, the connection to Bradley. Very similar with what they do defensively here in 2016. Walters losing his footing right around the 40, but despite that, they'll have decent field position after a 51. Early stages, 2nd quarter, Everbank Field in Jacksonville. There's TJ Yeldon, their former 2nd-round pick out of Alabama, yet to have a carry so far, but finally on the field here. On 1st and 10, good starting field position. That's Marquise Lee on a crossing route, a pickup of 5, tackled by Aqib Talib. Aerial coverage of today's game being provided by DirecTV. Beautiful day in Jacksonville, temperatures in the upper 70s. Salman, as the Jags try to take advantage of very good starting field position here.
Beautiful day here in Jacksonville, you're right, but right now this defense led by their coordinator Wade Phillips, they're coming after the quarterback Blake Bortles and even blitzing when they run.
And a misdirection play. That's Yeldon able to get close to the 46, maybe the 47. There's Wade Phillips, defensive coordinator for Denver. A lot of talk about this defense kind of falling off compared to an incredible 2015 that they had, and specifically saw them in the last couple of weeks blowing some late leads.
Well, they gave up 14 points last week in the final minute of the 4th quarter and in overtime. They had a chance to win that game. Gary Kubiak talked about it, said they had opportunities to win, didn't get it done. The defense has tailed off over the last few weeks, and now they have to step it up and get going in the month of December.
On third and 4. Perfectly thrown pass by Bortles to Marquise Lee for the Jacksonville first down. Can't throw it better than that. It's a pickup of 17 for Jacksonville.
Earlier this season, people talked about the inaccuracies of Blake Bortles and his mechanics. Watch this ball go right over the arms of Chris Harris Jr. right into Marquise Lee. That was a well-thrown ball against this no-fly zone. Look, tight windows. Got to be perfect if you're going to get that in and not have it intercepted over the head of Chris Harris Jr. right in front of Aqib Talib.
No Allen Hurns today for the Jags, so Lee, their number 2 wide receiver, makes the biggest offensive play so far in this first half. That's Allen Robinson on a first down catch, a pickup of 5. Those two were so good last season. The chemistry between Bortles and Robinson. I mentioned his numbers, a Pro Bowler, youngest Jag ever to be selected to the Pro Bowl last season. Just hasn't been the same guy.
I think part of it, though, was what they were doing offensively. I think more was being asked of them when Greg Olsen was the offensive coordinator. It was just too much on their plate. And now they had to change coordinators. It's made a difference.
So the injury update to Peyton Thompson, one of the key backup players in Gus Bradley's secondary. Keep you updated on his status. That's Corey Grant. With the absence of Chris Ivory today, expect to see Grant for a couple of carries and a big 3rd and 2 coming up with TJ Yeldon back on the field.
You know, sometimes when wide receivers and the production isn't there, you know that Allen Robinson can play. We know Blake Bortles can play, but their inconsistency in terms of the run game allows defenses to take the receivers away primarily.
Bortles on 3rd and 2, far side of the field, looking in the direction of Lee. That time was inaccurate by a couple of feet. Bradley Roby was there on the coverage. And on 4th and 2, they'll send out the field goal unit.
Now, he was late throwing the ball, and so he overshot it, because watch Bradley Roby. He's coming underneath. If that ball was thrown on a flat line, it could have been intercepted, but Blake Bortles has to have better anticipation, cut it loose sooner. Certainly had Marquise Lee open.
This will be a 47-yard attempt for Jason Myers, the second-year kicker. He's a perfect 12 for 12 on kicks from 49 and in. This one is on target and perfect. So Jacksonville's drive stalls, but they're able to get the first 3 points of this first half against the defending champions. Well, ugly offensive start for both of these teams. For the Jags, a couple of 3 and outs to begin, then another punt, and finally Jason Myers able to get us our first points at the 11:01 mark of the second quarter to make it 3-0. Spiro Dita, and Wilcots, rest of our CBS crew from Everbank Field here in Jacksonville. Khalif Raymond will take a knee, and they'll have it from the 25. Oh, so many questions for the defending champions after the retirement of Peyton Manning. The first big domino to fall was Brock Osweiler signing that $72 million deal with Houston. They signed Mark Sanchez to the Broncos. The thought was that he would be the quarterback, but after they drafted Paxton Lynch and kind of put him on ice to develop, Trevor Siemian wins the job in camp, gets them out to the 4-0 start. They have since lost 4 of their last 7. Now Siemian hurt Solomon, is given away once again to Lynch.
Siemian's played well, and now they're going to need 2 quarterbacks to get through this season, much like they did 1 year ago.
Play action from Lynch. Sold it well. He's going to throw it. Near side of the field, it's incomplete, batted down. Well played by Jalen Ramsey as he and Thomas continue their battle.
It's the 3rd best pass defense in the NFL. Take a look to your right, because Demaryius Thomas is open, but watch the recovery of Jalen Ramsey. That's why he was the first defensive player to come off the board. Look at that play. That was just phenomenal. Good, gets his head around, he finds the football without creating a collision. When you play the ball, you can still touch the receiver as long as you don't obstruct them. Make a play on the football.
So Lynch completed his first 6 passes. He has missed on his last 4. And just to get back to Jalen Ramsey, we know they took him 5th overall. So many high aspirations for this kid. He did have his growing pains. Solomon early was ejected in that game in late October against Oakland, but he has consistently defended the opponent's top wide receiving target.
And I stand corrected, because Joey Bosa came off the board before he did in San Diego, but yet and still, many people felt like he was one of the crown jewels of the 2016 draft. And you saw in that play right there, he's a leader. He's an athletic player and very physical as well. He's going to make for a bright future with the Jacksonville Jaguars.
And the kid does not lack for confidence, that's for sure. Big 3rd and 6 play coming up. Looks like the Broncos want a timeout.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Duracell. The ones you trust are always there. Collateral Beauty from New Line Cinema in theaters December 16th. And by State Farm. Talk to an agent today at 800-STATE-FARM.
Second career start for Paxton Lynch. And so far for this Denver offense, only 61 yards of total offense. Critical 3rd and 6 here.
Yeah, you know, Emmanuel Sanders, if you can get him locked up one-on-one, you expect him to be able to make a play for you. He's throwing his hands up, wanting the football.
Lynch on a crossing route going right to Sanders. The officials say incomplete. There is a flag thrown in this, the backfield.
Personal foul. Roughing the passer. Defense, number 50. Hit the quarterback in the head. It's a 15-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Just an absolute killer on Telvin Smith.
He's coming off that right side of the defense. It's just a hand to the face of the quarterback as he's reaching for the ball, but still you can't go to the head. You can see that was a clear blow to the head. He does have special protection because he's in the pocket and you cannot go to the head of the quarterback.
So 15-yard penalty on Smith just when they were just about to get off the field. That is a backbreaker. You see Bradley animated on the sideline. See if that can't get his Broncos offense in gear. Lynch, if you've just joined us, 6 of his first 12. 46 yards as they try to get this offense moving.
Right now, both defenses are having great success putting pressure on the opposing quarterback. Because Bradley knows his defense is growing up before his eyes. They're very young, they're very talented, and in the second half of the season, they're much improved.
Capri Bibbs, the lone running back. On 2nd and 9, another run play called here by Kubiak, and Bibbs breaking free. Inside Jacksonville territory, all the way down to the 30. Longest run of the season for Bibbs. It's a burst of 25 for a Denver first down.
Watch Dante Fowler Jr. He's going to come inside here, but watch how they seal it, and then they're able to break outside on this run. See, they're able to seal the edge, and then look at that nice little running lane. He finds the alley for a nice little run game there. The Broncos have to also stay committed to their run game. When they can run it very well, it opens up the entire offense.
Bibbs left their game briefly in Buffalo last week, the neck and shoulder stinger. As Lynch finding Thomas here. Bibbs was actually evaluated for a concussion during the week, then was cleared by the independent doctor. Said that that hit that he took, Solomon, from Eric Berry was the hardest hit he's taken in his 2 years in the NFL. But they need Bibbs and Booker today to have big games.
Both need to continue to be productive on early downs, create play-action pass opportunities, and more importantly, they've got to be good in pass protection for Paxton Lynch.
Lynch, little pitch to Bibbs on 2nd and 3. First down and more. Bibbs showing his dynamic running ability right around the 10. Another Denver first down, a pickup of 14, brought down by Deshaun Gibson.
Watch Paul Puslusny. He's going to come here, but watch Bibbs can read him at the second level. Once you can make the first unblocked defender miss, there are yards to be had. Of course, Deshaun Gibson makes a nice tackle before Bibbs can make it to the goal line, but Bibbs took care of Puslusny to be able to create a first down.
Bibbs entered the day with only 80 yards rushing on the season. He's got half of that already in this game. First and goal from the Jacksonville 10. This is Booker back in, getting to the 5. Now, this is something that they just have not had, Solomon, and we mentioned it earlier, the ground support with the running game since the departure of C.J. Anderson with the knee injury back in October.
Yeah, these 7 plays on this drive, 5 of them have been run plays for 46 yards. So Gary Kubiak sticking with the run game, but you can see down inside the red zone, they've struggled, and most of those struggles have come since C.J. Anderson has been out the last 4 games.
Ty Sombrilo is on the field and is eligible, I should say, on second and goal. Another run play to Booker, breaking a tackle. Booker still going, and he's in for the Broncos touchdown.
You want to become a good red zone offense, you've got to be able to run the football. Gary Kubiak knows that. He talked about the fact that they've lost C.J. Anderson, but here they're going to give the rookie Devontae Booker. Watch the effort and energy. Breaks a tackle right there. Spins out of the grasp of Telvin Smith. And then the offensive line pulls and pushes him across the goal line, dragging defenders with him. But great effort right there. You break that tackle, then you can get movement up front. Good help from the offensive line of the Broncos.
Third rushing touchdown of the season for Booker, the fourth-round pick out of Utah. 6-yard run into the end zone to get the Broncos their first points. 8 plays, 75 yards. And that penalty on Telvin Smith, looming large, gave them a fresh set of downs. Then Capri Bibbs the long run. And finally, Devontae Booker getting the Broncos on the board. Well, finally, Paxton Lynch and this Broncos offense able to find their way onto the scoreboard. Capri Bibbs setting the stage with a couple of long runs, and then Devontae Booker, their rookie running back, third in the league in rushing among rookies, able to bang it in from 6 yards out. Bortles will have it from the 25. Week 13 continues later today on Fox, then later tonight, Sunday Night Football on NBC. Tomorrow, Monday Night Football on ESPN features Indianapolis and the New York Jets. So that penalty, Solomon, on Telvin Smith was big, and it kind of made us think of the end of the play between Minnesota and Dallas in that Thursday night game, that no call after Bradford took a shot to the face.
Sometimes they catch him, sometimes they don't. He was clearly hitting the head, and we have rules to protect the quarterback against him.
Broncos took advantage, now how did Jacksonville respond? Down 7-3, under 7 to play before halftime with a sidearm delivery by Bortles, finds Robinson. Robinson first down on the catch and run and more, finally forced out of bounds just outside the 45. A pickup of 21 forced out by Talib. It's a first down.
Blake Bortles has been really good getting the ball out of his hands very quickly, and he has to against this Denver Broncos defense. 2.5 seconds, ball gone. Here, 2.2 seconds. Got to get it out or you're going to get hit. That one, 2.2 as well, and so that's how they're protecting the quarterback, by designing these quick, short passes.
They have not sacked Bortles as Robinson picks up minimal yardage here on first down. Last week was Jacksonville's second turnover-free game of the season. He's only gone, Solomon, back-to-back games without a turnover once in his career. But so far, so good against this vaunted defense.
Sometimes we forget that, Blake Bortles is a very young quarterback. Only in his third season. He's been very productive. Trying to learn how to win games while a young team is growing around you. There's going to be setbacks along the way.
Bortles back under center here on 2nd and 7. Another misdirection play, and around to Lee. Finding the edge, first down and more. Forced out of bounds by the safety, the Pro Bowler T.J. Ward, but not before a pickup of 9 by Lee moves the chains for the Jags.
Oh, look, they'll get the motion going this way, but Lee will come back from the other side. So that's how you're able to get the defense going one way, and look, they get the block on Von Miller. Miller's really good normally at containing plays like that. So good in space, but Nathaniel Hackett, offense coordinator, doing a really good job designing plays to attack this Broncos defense.
So a good-looking drive for the Jags here inside Denver territory. Bernard Robinson just has not been able to get his game going. But just to get back to Marquise Lee, we know that Hearns is out, but even before the injury, Lee had really started to emerge, Solomon. And this is a kid that they took in the second round out of USC back in 2014, but had struggled with some soft tissue injuries his first couple of years. Finally healthy, showing what he can do.
Oh, there's no doubt. When he's healthy, he can make some plays. He's a young receiver as well. Allen Robinson, Allen Hearns, and Marquise Lee's in his third season. So a lot of young players trying to grow together.
Very evenly matched game to this point. Bortles going through the air. That pass deflected and intercepted. It's Chris Harris Jr. for Denver. Another bad break for the Jags. Harris still going across the 45. Nearly goes head over heels. A return of 30. It was intended for Denard Robinson, and then Harris snatches it out of the air. A defensive gem for the defending champions. You're watching the NFL on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by K Jewelers. For 100 years, every kiss begins with K. And by Bud Light. Make the right call. Drink responsibly.
Second interception on the season for the Pro Bowler Chris Harris Jr. and a pass, Salmon, that Allen Robinson probably should have caught.
Well, he should have caught it because it hit him in the chest. You don't get to double catch it, especially when Chris Harris Jr. is defending against him.
Denard Robinson finally making the tackle after a 30-yard return by Harris. And now Denver in business as we go back to the pick.
They call this secondary the no-fly zone. They cover as tight as any group of cornerbacks in the NFL. This is still tight coverage. Watch. See, Robinson had it, but then look, Harris Jr. is able to rake that ball away, and then he comes down with it. You know, he talks about the fact that he wasn't drafted. He wears that chip on his shoulder as he returns it some 30 yards there. He said, when you're drafted, you tend to have a pedigree. When you go undrafted, you got to prove that you can play in this league, and boy, has he proved it.
What a career he's built for himself. From undrafted to Pro Bowler to All-Pro, Super Bowl champion, as he has given the ball to his offense. And Paxton Lynch. One thing about Denver, 93 of their points this season have come off of turnovers. That leads the NFL. Very opportunistic they've been.
That was one of our keys to the game. We said that when you're playing with a rookie quarterback in Paxton Lynch, that this no-fly zone, they had to create turnovers to put Paxton Lynch on a short field. And now you see he has the ball to start this possession on the other side of the 50-yard line.
Lynch from the gun on 3rd and 3. That pass too high and incomplete. Intended for Jordan Norwood. As Denver's drive stalls, Lynch had the protection he needed, Solomon, but just not accurate with that pass.
The accuracy begins with the footwork for the quarterback. And we talk about Lynch being under center, working from under center, something he didn't do a lot of in college at Memphis. Sometimes his footwork kind of can get out of sync, and that's when the ball tends to sail high.
Riley Dixon, the rookie punter, has been busy in this first half. This one is played well. Excellent coverage down the field by Kubiak's punt team. 41 yards as they down it inside the 5. That's Kayvon Webster able to get down the field in a hurry. And Dixon continues to be very good at pinning his opponents inside their own 20 of late. Trying to get a look at the injured Denver Bronco on the field as their trainers. Injured Broncos Corey Nelson, former 7th-round pick, third-year man out of Oklahoma. As they continue to take a look at him. Hard collision during that Broncos punt. How about the quarterback comparison, Sam, until this point? Lynch missing on a couple of throws, and Bortles that last unfortunate pick off the deflection. Which
is really the most important stat, particularly that these head coaches will tell you about. They don't want the quarterbacks turning the football over under any circumstance.
Tough starting field position here. Well, Bortles has been unlucky. We know he's had some issues with the interceptions, but off of deflections has been kind of a theme this year for him.
Yeah, so look at this. I mean, you can't count on that one getting intercepted. And then this one here, off the backhand of his intended wide receiver, that one is picked off. And then here you can see, look at this. Robinson should have had that one, and that ball's intercepted today. So it happens. Quarterbacks have to battle through it, and you got to stick together. You and your receivers have to get on the same page to make plays. More importantly, protect the football. Already 14 interceptions for Blake Bortles this season.
Entered the day tied for the most. But to see the interceptions that he's thrown since coming into the league, just too high of a number. As Hackett calls a running play to Yeldon, able to streak past the 10. And appears to have enough for a Jacksonville first down. 2-minute warning. 7-3 Broncos. Got the CBS Sports app for inside access to breaking news and expert analysis of your favorite team. It has everything you need to stay close to the action. Download the CBS Sports app today. Well, we know the Broncos always travel well, and Solomon, that takes some planning, some good coordination.
They know who to follow, that's for sure. Number 58, pretty good leader.
Von Miller, the NFL's leader in sacks after that monstrous performance last week in the loss to Kansas City. 12.5 on the season. He had 3 of them in that game. But what a player Von Miller has turned out to be, already being talked about not only in the Defensive Player of the Year category, but also as a potential MVP. You know, that hasn't happened many times in the history of the sport for a defensive player. Second down pass from Bortles for Yeldon is incomplete.
Yeldon's got to be able to make this catch. He hauls it in. He's going to potentially have himself a first down. Talk about being able to make plays for your quarterback. There's Yeldon right there. He's going to be coming out of the backfield on a screen play. Look, blockers in front of him, just can't haul it in. You know, you talked about Von Miller. He's such a great guy. He sent bottles of wine to every single player on other teams inside of his own division. He said, maybe they'll like me more. Are you kidding me? He's wrecking their offense.
Maybe playing mind games with some of his opponents in that AFC West. Underneath pass for Bortles, and Walters takes a shot. Shane Ray laying that smack, but not before Walters runs for 12 and gets another Jacksonville first down. And now Bradley will take a timeout with $1:22 left before half. Well, this has been an area where Jacksonville has actually been pretty good. 27 points scored in the last 2 minutes of the first halves of games this season. That's the upper third of the NFL. First and 10 passes batted down. Excellent play by Chris Harris Jr., who had the pick earlier in the quarter. Bortles looking for Walters. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Is there a team with better corners who play tighter coverage than these of the Denver Broncos? Chris Harris Jr. right in the hip pocket. Brian Walters. We know Aqib Talib anticipates as well as any corner in the NFL. We talked about Bradley Roby, but look at this too. Really late, they'll make you pay.
A lot of people forget those two actually spent a year together collegiately at Kansas. And so what a cornerback tandem they have in Denver. Underneath pass to Sterling. And that'll set up a 3rd down coming up. You know, Harris has talked about the influence of guys like Champ Bailey and Brian Dawkins, who took him under their wing when he was just a rookie, undrafted. And continues to give those guys credit for the player he's become.
Pro Football Focus has him rated as one of the highest players in the National Football League. On some other lists, he doesn't even appear in the top 100. And that's where people are. When you're undrafted, they don't tend to give you the benefit of the doubt. You have to prove it and earn it every single day.
3rd and 7 here. Jags have 2 timeouts left if they could just move the chains. Someone lost their helmet. Bortles runs for the first down. There is a flag thrown. It was Shaquille Barrett who lost his hat. Bortles runs for 13, and now we await the penalty from Craig Rolstad.
Illegal hands. Hands to the face. Offense, number 60. It's a 10-yard penalty. Replay. 3rd down.
It's A.J. Cann, the man penalized.
There it is right there. Oh, yeah. You know, offensive linemen, they use their hands. Sometimes their hands end up in the wrong places.
That'll certainly get the attention of the officials. So 13-yard first down run taken off the board. And now they're faced with a 3rd and 17. This is Allen Robinson on the catch, but nothing doing. Denver keeping everything in front of them. A pickup of only 6. And the Jags offense hearing boos as they come off the field.
Yeah, I don't know what more you could have expected. You know, it's tough to throw the ball down the field to these receivers when the offensive line doesn't hold up by way of protecting the quarterback, Blake Bortles. You almost have to have quick passes, quick short passes, and hope the receivers can slip a tackle and create yards after the catch.
Timeout taken by Denver here, interestingly, with exactly a minute left. Actually, no timeout. They have one left with 60 seconds to play and a 7-3 lead. And Nortman on once again to punt. They did take the timeout, so my mistake. Clock was running. So Denver taking their second timeout. They have one left. This is Raymond. He's going to play it. Crosses the 30 up the sideline, and Raymond, after a couple of shaky punts early, with a nifty return here. Flags fly towards the end of that play. It's a 17-yard return by Raymond. Again, signed just this week off of their practice squad.
After the play was over, personal foul, late hit out of bounds, kicking team. That's a 15-yard penalty, ended the end of the play. First down.
There you see he's out of bounds. There's the hit right there. Can't catch the number. Look. There it is right there. Number, is that 40? Yeah.
Looks like Alex Ellis. Lynch trying to aid the officials, so a couple of huge penalties. The one on Telvin Smith to keep that touchdown drive alive, Solomon. We give him an extra 15 here, and a short field to work with and a timeout in their back pocket. Broncos in front 7-3. Lynch will work from the gun on 1st and 10. And swinging it far side of the field, and it is caught. Emmanuel Sanders. That'll stop the clock, able to get out of bounds. 42 seconds remaining. Reminder coming up next, the Verizon Halftime Report. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cower standing by. I'll get you caught up around the league here in Week 13. All next on the Verizon Halftime Report.
So many players you could go to in this situation, but you got to take a shot. Try to get it down inside the red zone to set up Brandon McManus. Anytime you can go to Demaryius Thomas, that's not a bad thing.
A juke maneuver by Booker. That'll be a first down run and more. Broncos, we'll see how they handle the clock here. 30 seconds left and counting. Solomon, it looks like they're just going to kind of run that thing down and get McManus in the best position they can. Down to 17 seconds. Lynch over the middle. Low pass. What a catch by Thomas. Inside the 15-yard line, and they'll run that clock down and get McManus on the field. It's an 18-yard catch by Thomas. So Kubiak takes his final timeout, and will send McManus onto the field.
Yeah, having that last timeout allowed you to take a shot to the middle of the field with the defensive backs for the Jaguars playing outside leverage, thinking maybe they're going to catch it, step out of bounds to stop the clock. But when you have timeouts in your hip pocket, you can take shots like this. Wasn't the best throw by Paxton Lynch, but certainly a better catch by Demaryius Thomas. Watch this. Just a foot off the turf. He's able to haul it in.
So Thomas, good first half. 5 catches, 54 yards. That was his long so far, 18-yarder. And now here comes Brandon McManus, who missed that 62-yarder at the end of regulation last week. A decision that kind of rang throughout the NFL. Such a tough call that Gary Kubiak had to make. This one much easier from 32. And McManus is good on the chip shot. So Denver builds on its lead now at a touchdown, with just 1 second left in the second quarter.
You know, I didn't have a problem with Gary Kubiak's decision to allow Brandon McManus to go forward. 62-yard field goal attempt with 1 minute left in overtime. Had he punted the football in that case, that would have been conceding a tie for the most part. And he has a kicker that he's seen him make that kick plenty of times, repeatedly in practice. He said last week he made the kick in pregame. But here was McManus who kicked the ground first. Look at this. Didn't hit it cleanly. Certainly has the leg, has the distance at that altitude. And so Kubiak, you know what? He took the blame. He said, hey, put it on me. But from Von Miller to the president and general manager, John Elway, they all said, hey, we're playing to win. So they're certainly unified when making those decisions. However, that loss, they fell to 3rd place inside of the division.
Such a big loss the way that game ended, and everything riding on that outcome in terms of the postseason for Denver and just a number of teams in the AFC. Another reminder, the Verizon Halftime Report comes your way next. JB and the fellas standing by. Get you caught up around the league, scores and highlights on the Verizon Halftime Report. Speaking of their kicking situation, it's the 2nd straight game that they have a new long snapper. Casey Kreider, their usual man in that spot, is out with a calf injury again. So Thomas Gafford is their long snapper today. Clean snap there. As McManus goes with a little short squib kick to take us to halftime. Well, Paxton Lynch, second career start. First as a road starter back in his home state. 9 of 16, 79 yards. Finally able to get him into the end zone in that second quarter. 10-3 Broncos at halftime. We'll be back with the Verizon halftime report after these messages and a word from your local station. You're watching the NFL on Well, plenty on the line for the defending champion Denver Broncos here in Jacksonville. Up 10-3 as we get you set for the second half. Back inside our booth, NFL on CBS continues alongside Solomon Wilcots. I'm Spiro Ditas. Solomon, we weren't expecting a lot of points in offense, and so far no surprises there.
Yeah, and we knew that the error from margin, or at least the margin for error, is very slim for the Jacksonville Jaguars. You can't have any penalties, certainly no turnovers. That's what's led to the 10 points for the Denver Broncos.
This was a couple of big penalties in the first half. First, the defensive call on Telvin Smith, and then the touchdown was that kind of sprung them forward. Devontae Booker able to pound it in, and then the late hit on Khalif Raymond gave him the extra 15. Excellent field goal position.
Well, it certainly were those penalties. That interception, of course, led to great field position, but both quarterbacks have settled down. If you can just not turn the ball over, if you're Blake Bortles, start to make some plays in the passing game, you can get that offense going. But for Trevor Siemian, don't try to do too much. Your defense is playing well. Allow the run game to set everything up in the pass game.
And you can follow your favorite team all season long. Visit itunes.com/NFL. Temperatures in the upper 70s as we sit in for the second half. Denver and Jacksonville here in week number 13. Told you right at the top what's at stake for the Broncos. 7-4 entering play. And entering week 13 right now on the outside looking in that AFC postseason picture. A couple of scores of note. Kansas City and Atlanta. That game tied at last check at 13 apiece. And Miami, the other team in front of them in the chase for the wild card right now, down big in Baltimore. Solomon, what about some second half adjustments?
I think if you're the Denver Broncos on offense, you have to get Paxton Lynch on the move, outside the pocket, create some easy throws down the football field. For Jacksonville, you got to protect the quarterback, Blake Bortles, and then push the ball down the field in the passing game. You've got to be able to create some big plays on offense.
So Jaguars football to begin the second half. Down 7. Bortles 10 of 18 in the first half. Just over 100 yards in that late pick. It's Denard Robinson on the take. Tackled on the play by Derek Wolfe. Here is the updated AFC playoff picture as we sit currently. Mentioned the two scores, but Denver, a team that has not missed the playoff, Solomon, since 2010. But they've got a lot of work to do here as they prepare for the stretch run.
Oh, yeah. If they continue to win ball games, you feel like maybe you could catch a Kansas City, and certainly Miami holds the tiebreaker. More wins inside the conference.
Play action pass, tough throw for Bortles to make across his body. Intended for the tight end Ben Koyak, 7th round pick out of Notre Dame. But a heavy pressure coming from DeMarcus Ware.
He's going to take a whack from Ware as he comes out of that bootleg, but Koyak got to make this catch. You know, if your quarterback's going to take one in the chops from DeMarcus Ware right there, you've got to make the catch for him.
We had a chance to visit with Ware yesterday. He says finally he was starting to feel like a person again. Had the back injuries, of course, that fracture in his forearm that caused him to miss 5 games this season. But still a highly productive player, 12 years into his career at the age of 34. 3rd and 7, Bortles slinging it here, and that pass intended for Lee is incomplete. Excellent coverage by the safety, Darian Stewart, who's just over a week removed from that very lucrative and deserved contract extension, as the Broncos force a punt.
That was perfect in terms of pressure in the face of the quarterback and then coverage on the back end. Blake Bortles couldn't do much with it, neither could his intended receiver. 3rd
3 and out for Bortles and this offense today. Certainly didn't expect them to have a lot of points. But at some point, they're going to have to start to figure some things out. Brad Nortman on to punt. A couple of return men back deep. This is Raymond again, going to play it right around his own 30. Raymond is dangerous, breaking free inside Jacksonville territory. Finally brought down by Corey Grant. 51 yards on the punt. A return of 23 from Raymond. Well, on Tuesday, Julius Thomas celebrated the opening of a new reading nook at Episcopal Children's Services on West 5th Street here in Jacksonville. Thomas, the former Bronco, helping to create a new program that increases access to books and supports literacy, education, and development in the community. Thomas was wishful and trying to come back from that back injury to take on his former team, but on the shelf for a second straight week. Here's Lynch. Play action, is going to take a shot deep down the field. This is Sanders, the intended receiver, deflected and incomplete off the hands of Gibson, who should have come down with that pick.
And this is what we were calling for in terms of the second half adjustments, is getting the quarterback out on the edges where you can get a receiver wide open. And so he's going to come open, and they get the quarterback on the edge. He's going to be right here, and then watch the rollout where you get clear vision down the field. He's open. Now you just got to connect. Now this secondary, they don't come down with a lot of interceptions. Only 3 so far on the year, tied for the fewest in the NFL.
Booker takes a shot as he is walloped on the play. Dante Fowler Jr., the man they took in the 3rd overall slot back in 2015.
I think I can fill that one up here. That's Dante Fowler Jr. We talked about it. He didn't play at all last year as a first-round pick. But this year, he's made some strides. He's improved, and what a physical, fast player on this defense.
Well, it looks like Booker is shaken up, and he will have to be escorted to that Denver sideline. And then we have the independent ATC spotters up in the booth, keeping close tabs on players on the field, and Booker took a vicious hit from Fowler. So Juwan Thompson, first time we've seen him, will come onto the field here. Thompson, who spent the first 7 weeks on the practice squad this season, finally activated for the first time in late October. And now summoned here with Booker being looked at on the sideline. 3rd and 11, crossing route. It's a catch by Sanders, but is brought down about 4 yards shy of the first down marker. It's a pickup of 8. And it will be 4th down.
We have 2 of the top-rated pass defenses in the National Football League in this game. The Broncos, no-fly zone secondary, ranked number 1, but this secondary on the back end of this defense with Jacksonville ranked number 3 overall in terms of defending the pass. They don't have a lot of interceptions, but they keep you from hitting the chains, and they're very good on 3rd down.
See 7 combined 3 and outs between these 2 offenses. And so Paxton Lynch and company continue to struggle, but again, that Denver punt team has been fantastic today. 35 yards on the punt, and Dixon pins another one inside the 5. This was the interception that could have been off the fingertips of Gibson. Couple of injury updates. Sterling and Scooter for Jackson are both questionable to return. Bibbs, it's an ankle, Solomon, so that is good news. After that hard hit he took a couple of minutes ago, his return is questionable as well. Tough field position again for Bortles and company to start. This is Denard Robinson, who just has not been able to find his footing, Solomon. They took him in the 5th round back in 2013. Dual threat running back, quarterback at Michigan. Just has not blossomed so far in the NFL.
And that's one of the areas where the Jacksonville Jaguars can improve. The offensive line, the ability to run the football and be more dominant in that phase of the offense can drastically improve.
No Chris Ivory for them today, their leading rusher. Ivory out with that hamstring injury that he hurt last week after he looked pretty good in that loss in Buffalo, a game in which the Jaguars blew a 4th quarter lead, probably should have won. They're suddenly very thin at that running back position. That puts even more pressure on Bortles as you see Ivory there on the sideline. Whistle blown here. Appears to be an injured Bronco. It's Shane Ray whom the trainers now will take a look at onto the field. Ray, who has been a critical piece for Wade Phillips and this defense.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Southwest. Yes to low fares with nothing to hide. That's transparency. Amazon Prime. Get free 2-day shipping on millions of items. And by the Home Depot. More saving, more doing.
A lot of orange here at Everbank Field in Jacksonville. Broncos fans getting out in full force to support the defending champs. Broncos in front by 7. That's a first down run by Yeldon on a 3rd and 1. So they're able to move the chains. This was the play a moment ago, Solomon, in which Shane Ray was hurt as they continue to look at his left leg.
Yeah, look right here. There he is. Watch 64. Reed falls on top of him, but then his own teammate 93 falls on that leg as well. That's Jarrett Crick.
First and 10 after the run. Bortles goes play action underneath. This is Robinson on the catch. Crosses the 25 out to the 30. And that is enough for another first down. It's a pickup of 11 as finally Robinson able to find some open real estate.
Yeah, it was well timed and well played. Brandon Marshall did a really good job making the tackle in the open field, but couldn't get him down before he hit the first down marker. So Robinson's now starting to factor in their ability to move the chains.
Mike 50, Mike 50.
Robinson entering today had only 2 catches on the season. A big one here to get the offense moving. First and 10, another run play called by Nathaniel Hackett. Good looking run of 5 to set up a 2nd and short coming up here.
You know, you want to run at Von Miller. There you see him. And the reason why you want to run at him, because you run away, you'll track it down. And when it's time for him to rush the quarterback, you kind of want to get, look, 2 bodies on him. Look, they're mauling Von Miller right there. Now, he does hold up. This is what we call setting the edge at the point of attack. So he does a really good job. If 2 people are going to block Von Miller, that means someone else has to come off and make a tackle.
Miller, a Pro Bowler for the last 5 years, MVP of the Super Bowl. NFL's leader in sacks this season, has been just an absolute terror for opposing offenses. This is Yeldon on another first down run for the Jags.
They do it again. They run right at Von Miller. He nearly was able to knife in and make the play, but TJ Yeldon heads up, sliced in underneath, able to get to the 2nd level of the defense. But I like the attack by the offense coordinator, Nathaniel Hackett. Run at Von Miller, try to wear him down a little bit so you can block him one-on-one when it's time to throw the football.
Yeldon lost his shoes, so he has to come off for the moment. First and 10, Robinson flanking Bortles. With a run play called as they continue now to go 1-2 with Yeldon and Robinson. Well, NFL fans, order your holiday gifts from NFLshop.com today and save 25% off at the official store of the NFL, NFLshop.com.
Where do you get one of those?
I'm assuming it would be NFL.com. We'll take a look after the game.
Need a special access code for that?
Special being the operative word, but respect to a lot of those fans showing their colors today, making a long trip from Denver. 2nd down and 8 there, minimal pickup of only 4. And a big play call coming up here from Nate Hackett. At some point, they need to find their way into the end zone.
Oh, absolutely. And, you know, Robinson, Marquise Lee, they've got to be able to make some plays, get some isolation. Just these 3 corners are so good, and the ball's got to come out very quick because the pass rush for the Broncos can be on top of the quarterback in a hurry.
This is a Jacksonville team that started the year 2-3. Appeared to have turned a corner, but 6 straight losses, find themselves at 2-9. Big 3rd and 4 here. Bortles pass is intercepted. It's picked off by Roby, and no one's going to catch him. Bradley Roby with the pick 6. And the interception issues for Blake Bortles once again rearing their ugly head.
Bortles never saw him, and that's going to be Roby right there at the bottom against Allen Robinson. Watch how he undercuts this route. But the traffic, he doesn't see the undercutting Bradley Roby knifing in underneath the Robinson. He thought he had Robinson wide open, but that's how good these defenders are in this no-fly zone. I think Blake Bortles just found out.
Second INT of the season for Roby. It is a 50-yard return on the pick six. Third career pick six thrown by Bortles as the defending champions break it open on CBS. We'll see the problems Bortles has had with the interception, specifically on third down, more than any quarterback in the NFL. 50-yard pick six by Bradley Roby. Had a pick six earlier in the season, a 51-yarder back in Week 8 against the Chargers. So another massive defensive play
Kickoff
here.
out of bounds. Kicking team. The ball will be placed at the 40-yard line. First down, Jacksonville.
Take a look at this play. This is what Bortles is seeing, and this is the pressure that he's feeling because his left tackle, Kelvin Beachum, gets walked right back by Von Miller. We say pressure leads to picks. Watch the hit on Bortles as he's looking for his intended receiver, Robinson, coming across the field. See how that ball comes out? It flutters, but he never sees Roby. He sees his receiver, but with that traffic, that's the view he had, and you can see from that angle, he could not see Bradley Roby. Then he was hit by Von Miller. We say pressure leads to picks, and no defense does it better than the Denver Broncos. Von Miller. We said he was a one-man wrecking crew, right?
Just unbelievable. Certainly not the tackling numbers that you usually would see. The injured Bronco, by the way, is Kayvon Webster, as he has helped to the Broncos sideline. Miller catching a break here. But he just continues to do it. Had that monster game last week in the loss against Kansas City. Tied career highs with 10 tackles and 3 sacks. Aiding on the pick six by Roby. First and 10 as Bortles and company get back to work. Marquise Lee on the take, a pickup of only a yard.
Yeah, Blake Bortles has been plagued by the pick six. Interception, return for a touchdown there against the Houston Texans. He's had 3 in his last 4 games. You can see one right there. Raphael Bush returns one 39 yards, and then Bradley Roby hitting him here. Many of them coming on third down, some of those interceptions.
So Bortles now 15 INTs on the season overall. That pass for Koyak is incomplete. 3rd and 9 coming up. We go back to New York, JP and Boomer.
Andy Reid back into the bag of tricks. Solomon Wilcots will love this. This is a fake punt. This is Albert Wilson, direct snap. Right up the middle. This was their first series of the game. That's the 2nd touchdown that they've scored on 4th down in this game. They take a 27-16 lead over the Falcons.
Solomon, is that because Boomer went into a bag of tricks as well?
Oh, no doubt. Boomer had the best hands in terms of managing that ball behind the line of scrimmage. Play action magician. That's what we used to call him, JB.
How about Andy Reid rolling the dice as Kansas City builds on their lead in Atlanta? That pass for Walters incomplete. Chris Harris Jr. is there. And Solomon, as Jacksonville's offense boot off the field, that AFC West getting tighter and tighter by the minute.
Well, you knew the Denver Broncos would come in here with a chip on their shoulder. They've made it tough on Blake Bortles and this offense, and I just thought that without Chris Ivory that the run game would struggle. And then without the run game, I thought it was putting too much on Blake Bortles to have to make plays against this pass rush and against this coverage secondary.
On a 3 and out. That's a pretty decent field position following that Denver penalty on the kick out of bounds. Fair catch signaled by Raymond. 43 yards on the punt by Nortman. 17-3, Denver.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by American Express Open, proud supporter of growing businesses, and by Verizon. It's always a great gift on Verizon.
Overcast skies on a Sunday afternoon in Jacksonville. Paxton Lynch back onto the field with his Denver offense. Broncos in command right now, up 17-3. Injury update from the Jacksonville sideline. Their very heralded rookie, 3rd-round pick out of Maryland, Yannick Ngakoue, who is the NFL's rookie sack leader with 6 sacks, is out with an ankle injury. And more bad news for Gus Bradley and the Jags.
Yeah, they are coming up short-handed in terms of the ability to take on the defending Super Bowl champions. And can't say enough about the Broncos defense and their ability to get points off turnover.
A.J. Derby, the tight end, re-splits out. Bottom of your screen. Lynch with a strike and a catch. That is caught by Demaryius Thomas. Just inside the 25, a pickup of 7 as we take a look at some of the handiwork from Lynch.
Yeah, you can get it to Demaryius Thomas. He'll be your best friend. He'll take care of you, make the catch, create yards after the catch, move the chains. He's a big body receiver is Demaryius Thomas. We know he can create yards after the catch. He's been sure-handed here today for Paxton Lynch.
Thomas on pace for a 6th consecutive season of 1,000 yards. He would get there just barely if he continues on this pace until you see his numbers so far in this one. 3rd and 2. Lynch handoff from the gun, but Booker is wrapped up, going nowhere. Football came loose. Officials say that Booker was down. It's actually a loss of a yard, tackled by Senderick Marks, who's had a nice little defensive game, as the Jaguars will force a punt.
Senderick Marks, he'll come knifing in. Watch him here as he'll just weave his way through the traffic, able to come underneath and make a play. Actually had drawn on someone else, but Marks appears to be everywhere in that backfield.
Dixon booting this one away. Fair catch signaled by Walters. And Bortles and company will have it just inside the 30. 46-yard punt from Dixon. Aerial coverage of today's game being provided by DirecTV as we take a look high above Everbank Field. Beautiful shots from our blimp all afternoon. Spiro Dietesom and Will Kotz, rest of our crew, our producer Ryan Galvin, Andy Goldberg, our director. Here in Jacksonville, week number 13. DeMarc Robinson trying to find the edge, and Jacksonville defense has kind of softened a little bit, but they've held for the most part. Doors open, but the question now is, can this Jacksonville offense just get anything going?
And that's been the tough part. I mean, there's a lot of guys you're going to have to block as you see Denard Robinson come up limping. So you have to block Von Miller, DeMarcus Ware, and Derek Wolfe, Shane Ray. Really good players who can make plays. As you take a look at Robinson.
So Robinson has to limp to the bench. Told you how thin they are at running back, and Brandon Marshall also slow to get to his feet. Looked like Marshall just kind of pulled up at the end of this play. See Marshall right in the middle of your screen, kind of clutching down, grabbing his left hamstring.
That's right, that hamstring.
Marshall, again, as we told you earlier, former 5th-round pick of the Jags. Spent 1 year here in 2012, was cut 3 different times by this franchise. Actually singled out his former GM here, Gene Smith, as he prepared for this game to take on his old team for the first time. So they'll look at Marshall's leg on the sideline. This is 2nd and 9 from just outside their own 30. Shane Ray, who left the game earlier, is back in now in Marshall's spot. Here comes the blitz. Bortles quick release, and that pass is caught. Marquise Lee had to quickly turn, knowing that Bortles was under duress. It's a pickup of a dozen for the first down.
We talk about that margin for error being very slim. As soon as he turns around, look how quickly the ball's on him. I mean, that's how quick the ball has to come out. That's how much the receivers have to have anticipation for the timing of the pass play, because this pass rush is fierce coming after Blake Bortles.
3rd catch on the afternoon for Lee. Now underneath pass on the screen. This is Shane Wynn, who signed off their practice squad yesterday with the injuries that they have at the wide receiver position. Nifty play here of 7, tackled by Von Miller.
Not a big guy at all. 5'6". Ooh. So you have to kind of throw it to guys like that coming out of the backfield where there's a clear view. They can really get lost in traffic amongst that tall timber on the back end of the defense.
Told you earlier, no Allen Hurns out today with a hamstring injury, and no Rashad Green, who was shut down this week, placed on IR with an Achilles. So Wynn signed off the practice squad.
False start, offense, number 78, 5-yard penalty, still 2nd down.
It's Jeremy Parnell, who has really struggled on the right side of that offensive line.
Watch here. Little movement, that little bit, just that little bit cost them. See the movement.
See the penalty discrepancy. One team is a defending champion and the other one team in the midst of a 6-game slide at 2-9. And those penalties not huge, but they have come at very inopportune times for the Jags. Once again, Bortles goes short. This is Yeldon breaking a tackle. That'll be enough for a first down. Needed the 47 of Denver. It's a pickup of 10. And this kid Yeldon, Solomon, if you can get him into some space, he's dangerous.
Yeah, but watch the pressure coming off of this side of the field where they have the overload right there. Pressure, but then they set up the screen. And it's these quick hitting pass plays. It's the only thing that's really been available right now for this Jaguars offense. They can't block the pass rush and they have to dump the ball off quickly.
And can this drive continue for the Jags? Quick handoff once again to win. And he was located quickly by that Wade Phillips coach defense. It's a loss of 2. Jared Crick and Shaquille Barrett were there for the stop.
Jared Crick came over in the offseason via free agency, had played in Houston for both Gary Kubiak and on Wade Phillips defense. Watch him come off the blocks. Look how well they tackle. High-low on the running back there to get him down. They tackle very well, and they're physical at the point of attack.
Injured Jag is Marquise Lee. You see now kind of reaches down and will look, not sure if it's a hand or the groin area, but we'll take a look at Lee, who's been so good for this offense the last couple of weeks. 2nd and 12 from the Denver 47. Bortles pump faking, tries to run out of trouble, just throw it out of bounds. Usually a heady play against this very dangerous Denver defense.
You have to have an early clock against this pass rush. As Von Miller was coming, and, we talked about Wolf and Crick. They're really good pass rushers as interior defensive linemen. And DeMarcus Ware, obviously, is one of the best the game has ever seen. So they've got good pass rushers. What they want to do is become better in terms of situational football. Like third down, they've been very good so far here today against the Jaguars on offense. They're only 5 of 13 on third down.
You see the update, ankle for Robinson, his return questionable, and more flags flying. Could be against Von Miller.
Unimpeded to the quarterback, number 58. It's a 5-yard penalty. Remains third down.
First penalty called on Denver in this game.
Von Miller's a smart guy. He gets it. He was like, all right, we'll give him 5 yards. And won't be as bad. But look at what's happened today in terms of the penalties.
It was a big issue for them in that home loss to the Chiefs last Sunday night in overtime. So that'll give Bortles a little bit more favorable position here. 3rd and 7 with under 2 minutes left in the quarter. Bortles running out of trouble. He's going to try to run for it. Diving for that marker. Did he get it? Appears to have a favorable spot. Official signal. It will be first down. Oh, hold on just a minute. Now they say 4th down. Near side official signaled first down, but they've got other ideas and had a much better vantage point on that side of the field.
Bortles is saying, hey, I gave up my body and you're not going to give me the first down? Watch Miller. Then he jumps inside, and that's where he loses containment. And Bortles able to get out there with the opportunity to get this first down. He's going to pay for it right there.
Gus Bradley had the challenge flag in his hand, looking up at the scoreboard, and now it looks like he has thrown it. Was looking up at the gigantic video monitor here in the stadium with everyone else, Solomon, to try to determine if he wanted to challenge it.
Jacksonville is challenging the spot on the field in regards to a first down.
I think they are going to change the spot. I think we saw enough evidence to see that at least by where the marker was on the sideline that he was able to extend that ball beyond that marker. They came back and then marked the ball short of the 35-yard line, right between the 35 and the 36-yard line. But watch where this ball hits. Now, yeah, the left hand goes out of bounds, but not until the ball was extended beyond the 35-yard line. Take another look at it. His right forearm hits out of bounds. He doesn't step out prematurely. He dives. See, then that right forearm hits the white, but the ball was beyond the 35-yard line. I think it was enough. And even though he was touched, he wasn't down yet.
Looked like Bortles was a little bit hurt on that play as well. He was kind of grimacing as he came off, and now you see him taking some practice throws, Solomon, just in front of a sideline.
Well, he certainly sacrificed his body. That's what I said. He was walking back saying, oh, you got to give me that one, guys. I paid the price.
Well, Bortles, such a tough kid, grew up idolizing Brett Favre, growing up in Orlando, and of course no one tougher at the quarterback position than Favre was in his career.
I'd be surprised if this isn't overturned, and I think the video shows that he was beyond that 35-yard line, which would have been enough for the first down.
Again, our referee is Craig Rolstad.
After review, the runner did indeed get to the 35-yard line, and it is first down, Jacksonville. Jacksonville will not be charged a timeout. Timer, start the game clock on my signal.
Good challenge by Bradley, and the drive is extended by Bortles.
Yeah, the technology works, doesn't it? It's good.
See Bortles today, the 2 interceptions, the pick 6 by Roby. But again, Bortles dangerous with his legs. Career high in rushing, as you see right there last week in the loss in Buffalo. 1st and 10. Quick handoff to Yeldon. And, you know, talk to people in Jacksonville. It seems to be a split on Blake Bortles. We certainly know he's talented, had the franchise season last year, but for a lot of people still has some things to prove as he winds down his 3rd season.
He's tough, he's physical. I think he has the tools and the talent. I really do believe that. Does he need to get better? Absolutely. Does he need to eliminate some of the costly turnovers? Certainly.
He works here with under a minute left in the quarter, and that pass for Lee is batted down. And now a flag is thrown right in front of the Denver sideline. Talib can't believe it. Appeared to be a textbook play.
Defense, number 21, prior to the pass. It's a 5-yard penalty and an automatic first down.
Tough call. Now watch it. He's got his left hand on Marquise Lee. See, he's in front of him. He's got the back. You can have that hand on the back, but I do believe he had a piece of the jersey balled up in his hand. Now, he doesn't turn Marquise Lee away from the ball, so it's okay to have that left hand on the back of the intended receiver as you come across with the right hand, but they seem to think that he had obstructed Lee from making the catch.
So they didn't have a penalty all day. 2 defensive flags on this drive alone. Clock continues to run. Final half minute of the quarter. Jacksonville is somehow trying to get into the end zone and get back into this game as Yeldon is brought down by Derek Wolfe.
Very critical possession here. Be able to get some points and to pull within 7 for the touchdown.
Final seconds will tick off the clock, and that will take us to the end of the 3rd quarter. Denver fighting as they continue to chase a postseason spot, and Jacksonville trying to end this long 6-game losing streak. End of 3 in Jacksonville. You're watching the NFL on CBS. Jacksonville, that is the backdrop for the Broncos and the Jags here in Week 13. 17-3, the defending champions in front. And still keeping close tabs on those 2 other scores. Kansas City right now up. End of 3 in Atlanta, and Miami down big in Baltimore. 2 teams in front of them in the chase for the 2 wild card positions in the AFC. So still a lot to play for and a lot on the line. Solomon is with some pushing after the whistle. Jacksonville trying to extend this drive. Looked like Derek Wolfe was right in the thick of things there as the officials quickly step in between.
If I'm Nathaniel Hackett, if I'm the Jacksonville Jaguars, I got to be thinking this is 4-down territory. I'm not trying to come out of here with just a field goal. I'm looking for a touchdown. I'm going to push the envelope and try to go for it on 4th down, which opens the door for what you could do here on 3rd down.
So Derek Wolfe comes off, and another big 3rd and 4. Just outside the Denver 22. Bortles has time, pump fakes, under pressure, hit, and that pass is deflected and batted down off the hands of Nelson, who makes a fine defensive play. Looked like Ward was upset. Thought that he should have had the pick.
They're going to go for it on 4th down. But look, it's coverage. That no-fly zone, they match up with that bunch formation. Take away the check down from Blake Bortles, force him to hold on to it. Bortles going to take a hit right there from behind. Didn't see Shane Ray coming.
Jacksonville above average on 4th down this season. They've converted 5 of 9 attempts, right around 56%. The league average is at 49. 4th and 4 from the 22. Bortles gonna run for it. He's got it and then some. Bortles inside the end zone for the Jaguars touchdown. And Jacksonville showing a heartbeat right back in it.
He just does a really good job of recognizing the coverage, man-to-man coverage. And he can see, I'm going to show it, oh, what a blimp look. Look, he can see the defenders, and he knows it's going to come open. See, watch, there's no one in the middle of the field. Once the defenders turn their back to the quarterback, the talent and athleticism of Blake Bortles takes over. That's why I said he has the tools. He has the talent. He can be a winning quarterback in the NFL.
Second rushing touchdown of the season for Bortles. And this one coming from 22 yards away as Jason Myers boots in the point after. 7-point game in Jacksonville. You're watching the NFL on CBS. I told you about the long losing streak for Jacksonville, but they've been in a lot of closely fought games. The last 4 losses saw them in by 7 points or less. As Bortles showing you some grit, running it in on a long touchdown run on 4th down.
Showing you some toughness, right? He's a gamer.
That's certainly what you like about him. Certainly makes some mistakes with the picks and throws. But he's got his team back to within a touchdown. Coming up tonight, what does the Speaker of the House think that he and President-elect Donald Trump will be able to get done for America? Find out from Paul Ryan only on 60 Minutes tonight. Everbank Field, just outside downtown Jacksonville. Temperatures in the upper 70s. But, these Broncos fans, and there are a lot of them here, a little bit more nervous than they were a couple of minutes ago. Paxton Lynch, the 22-year-old rookie quarterback, making only his 2nd career start, first on the road. Now has to get some things done here on 1st and 10. Play action, is going to throw it deep down the field. Boy, he had Sanders wide open. He overthrew him.
Thought it was a really good throw. I thought Paxton Lynch was in really good position. I do believe that Emmanuel Sanders just kind of got knocked off his route. There he is at the top of the screen. Watch Jalen Ramsey. See, Ramsey's on top, and that little hesitation right there is what cost 1 step away from being a big play for Emmanuel Sanders. I'm just going to give the credit to Jalen Ramsey to keep him off the ball.
2nd and 10. Lynch again through the airways, slinging it, and he throws a dart. And that is caught by Cody Latimer. First catch for Latimer, a pickup of 10 and a 1st down for the Broncos.
I like the arm talent of one Paxton Lynch. I like when he's in the pocket, he's over his feet. When his footwork is really good and sound, he can drive the ball with accuracy, and he's got great velocity with that arm.
Redshirted as a freshman at Memphis and then started his final 3 years. And that arm talent, one of the many things that John Elway and company loved in this kid. Traded up to take him 26th in that April draft. One play called to Booker. Tackled on the play by Telvin Smith. Lynch said he's so much more comfortable in this offense compared to where he was. Saw him in Week 4, his first appearance, and then the start against Atlanta in Week 5.
He talked about how everything happened so quickly after the draft, in the OTAs, training camp, preseason. He said it was just happening so quickly. He said then after the bye week, things began to settle down for him. Feels much more comfortable now in Gary Kubiak's offense. And once you're into the 2nd half of the season of your rookie year, you're no longer a rookie.
Where does he go here? Dealing again on 2nd and 8. That pass is incomplete. Playing in front of his parents. his brother Evan, as Ramsey once again is there for another terrific defensive play. Lynch said that he and his brother Evan used to drive here to Jacksonville and watch the Jags at training camp. His brother was a big Jags fan. Lynch said that he grew up a Steelers fan, had a number of family members in Pennsylvania, but another big third down coming up here.
And this is where he's got to be better. You can see 1 of 8 on third down today. I would advise him not to go to Jalen Ramsey, who's been stellar on his side of the field.
Demaryius Thomas lines up at the top of your picture. There he is on 3rd and 8. Markers fly. Appeared to be some pre-snap movement on Denver's right side of the line. Here's Rolstad.
False start. Offense. Number 73. 5-yard penalty. 3rd down.
It's going to be Russell Okung at the left tackle position. That's going to hurt him. Putting the young quarterback right there. Oh, excuse me. Yep, there he is. That puts the young quarterback in a tough spot. Remember, Gary Kubiak said we have to play better around Paxton Lynch. That's what he's talking about. Offensive linemen, receivers, everyone.
Third and 13. Lynch stepping up in the pocket. He's going to try to run for it, and he has no chance. Telvin Smith, a former 5th-round pick out of Florida State, 3rd-year linebacker, was there for Gus Bradley's defense. And once again, the Jags will force a punt.
Watch as he escapes over to this side. Look, he's got nowhere to go with the ball. So this is where maybe could have had better poise, just kind of drift over to his right. But there was nowhere to go with the football, at least to that side of the field.
What a player this kid Telvin Smith has turned into. 18th in the league in tackles. He has an incredible future in front of him. Great special teams play by Latimer as they dump Walters immediately. 41 yards of the punt. 7-point game on CBS.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by Honda. Hurry in for great deals during Happy Honda Days. New York Life. With the right guidance, everyone can be good at life. And by Walmart. Find gifts, groceries, and more this season.
Some of the downtown Jacksonville waterfront. And this has been a theme. A lot of tightly contested games. Most games within 8 points in the 4th quarter in league history through week number 12. That's where we are here. 17-10. Broncos in front. DeMarcus Ware on the tackle. As Blake Bortles and this Jacksonville offense making a game of it on that last drive.
Sometimes you got to take matters into your own hands. Here on 3rd and 7, Bortles does that. 8-yard run to create a new set of downs, get the first down, and then on 4th and 5, critical moment in the ball game, he runs it 22 yards for a touchdown. So it is his legs that has fueled the rushing attack, not the running backs, but good decision making, being aggressive. He's yet to take a sack so far today.
Bortles play action here on 2nd and 6, buys himself some time, and he finds Sterling. A former 7th-round pick, the converted wide receiver to tight end, 15 yards and a big first down.
Right now, Bortles is coming alive. Watch, Sterling's going to come from the other side of the field right here. And look, Bortles on the move, easy lane. Once you can get to the perimeter of the defense, get the tight end coming across the field. So he's able to avoid that pass rush by the movement of the quarterback, a little slight rollout. Right now, this offense is picking up some momentum for Jacksonville.
Fresh set of downs, run play called by Hackett here. Interesting to see how this Denver defense finishes. We talked about some of the issues that they've had the last couple of weeks, but Solomon, as you know, when you set the standard so high as they have with Wade Phillips and Von Miller and the rest, tough to keep that up. And, they've been on the field an awful lot with the quarterback injuries.
You know, they did it last year, Wade Phillips' group. The quarterback play wasn't stellar. 23 combined interceptions between Peyton Manning and Brock Osweiler, but yet the defense could win them a championship. Going to have to do that again in 2016.
On 2nd and 7, run play called. Bortles handing to Yeldon. Able to find some wiggle room. First down run inside the Denver 45, a pickup of 8.
Told you Nathaniel Hackett, offense coordinator, is going to stay committed to the running game. That's one of the things that Blake Bortles and Gus Bradley said they liked about their new offense coordinator. continuing to go at it. You can see the rushing yards just this half. Now, most of that 87 yards is provided by the quarterback, Blake Bortles, running the football.
Bortles goes play action, fakes the handoff to Yeldon. Underneath pass is caught. That's the tight end, Koyak. A pickup of 4. Solomon, you mentioned the sack work that this Denver defense has done. They lead the league, tops in pass defense. The one area where they've kind of fallen off from last year is against the run. And we're starting to see a little bit of that here the last couple of possessions for Jacksonville.
And they were good in the first half against the run, but give credit to Jacksonville for staying committed with it. And most of it, again, coming because the quarterback has been effective running the ball.
2nd and 6, little sideline delivery. Bortles to Sterling. And Sterling forced out of bounds by the linebacker Todd Davis, a pickup of 3, and that'll set the stage here for a 3rd and 3 coming up.
Quick, short passes, everything right in front of the Denver Broncos defense, and they just have to be really patient. Now, you get to these critical 3rd down situations, that's where you have to be able to make a play, but it's hard to keep them short on a 3rd and 3 play.
Right on the edge of field goal range here for Jason Myers. On 3rd and 3, Bortles throwing it. A one-handed catch, and now the officials say incomplete. Would have been a miraculous reception by Sterling. Unable to corral it. It was Davis with him step for step.
Well, Sterling does the right part. He stops the point of the football. That's what allows him to pull it back in. Couldn't get it all the way in before he hit the ground. Really tight coverage by Todd Davis. And look, you go for it on 4th down when you're playing against the Super Bowl defending champion.
You like this decision?
I do like the decision. I loved it when they went for it on the previous 4th down play when they scored the touchdown.
Would have been a 54-yard field goal attempt, but they're going to go for it on 4th and 3. Bortles over the middle, incomplete. No flags. Robinson, the intended receiver. At Jacksonville sideline irate, Bradley barking at the officials.
I'm surprised it wasn't a penalty on this play. And now there is a penalty, and it's on Allen Robinson for barking at the official.
What coverage by Aqib Talib, showing why he's been a Pro Bowler each of the last 3 years. Former All-Pro.
I beg to differ. In my opinion, pass interference.
Unsportsmanlike conduct. Jacksonville, number 15. That's a 15-yard penalty. Denver's ball, timeout.
Have the tight call on Talib earlier. That was also very tight. Robinson penalized as he comes off the field. Crowd here still chirping at the officials for that no call between Aqib Talib and Allen Robinson on that 4th and 3 pass a moment ago. Turnover on downs, gives it back to Paxton Lynch. Juwan Thompson on the field, end around play on the give to Sanders. Sanders dances inside the 45. Solomon, as we go back to last week, another critical no call on a play that Gus Bradley and company felt as though should have been a pass interference against Buffalo, and Stephon Gilmore working against Robinson.
Right hand was on him. Clearly was pass interference, and I thought the left hand of Aqib Talib hooked around the waist of Allen Robinson, impeded him from making the catch. Flag should have been thrown.
How does Denver capitalize here? This is Booker trying to find the edge in that 1st down marker. This is where you really want to lean on your running game, and we've talked about how uneven it's been. Booker playing a little bit better last week, tackled here by Cyprien. And a 3rd down play coming up here. 7 and change remaining.
You know, these pass interference plays, I'm one of those guys that the fewer flags, the better. So I don't advocate more penalty flags. We just want consistency in some of these calls. One time you see it and it looks obvious, and then there's no flag. Another time it's, very gray, doesn't appear to be a penalty, and here comes a penalty flag. You just want consistency in regards to these pass interference calls.
Looks like Gary Kubiak wants a timeout to think about it a little bit longer. As he scours down on that play sheet. Of course, had that big decision to make at the end of regulation last week, and a big call here on 3rd and 3 as the Broncos protect this 7-point lead. Well, next Sunday, the NFL on CBS showcases some regional action. The Steelers head to Buffalo. The defending champions will take on the Titans, and Houston will battle Indy, all with playoff implications on the line. Check your local listings, beginning with JB, Tony, Bart, Coach, and Boomer on the NFL Today. Once again, the updated AFC postseason picture. Kansas City continues to lead in Atlanta, and Miami getting blown out in Baltimore, so that is good news if you're a Broncos fan. But right now, all eyes on Jacksonville, up 7 on the Jags. Paxton Lynch, 12 for 22, just over 100 yards. Throwing here, took a shot, and that pass well short for Sanders and falls incomplete. Prince Amukamara was there on the coverage, and Lynch just off target.
Yeah, this ball's got to be thrown over the top and allow Sanders to run under it. You're going to see the pressure. He stands in the pocket, hit in the lower body. That's why that ball sailed short. Look, he's going to be hit prior to this ball being released. He was jumping to try to not get hit by Malik Jackson, the former Denver Bronco.
First time we've called Jackson's name. He had been chomping at the bit to take on his former teammates today. And a big defensive play to apply the pressure on Lynch. Dixon unable to pin them inside the 20, 17-10.
The NFL on CBS is sponsored by K Jewelers. For 100 years, every kiss begins with K. And by Subway. Try the classic Reuben, stacked with corned beef. Limited time only.
Look at those beasts, the Caddyshack Ranch Wildlife Sanctuary. Not sure how Jackson DeVille would hold his own against those big cats that 20 miles from where we are here at Everbank Field. That pass, boy, deflected and nearly picked. Dangerous situation. Aqib Talib was there on the coverage of Marquise Lee. And Bortles, as we told you earlier, has had a lot of bad luck off these deflections.
All right, you intercept ball tips and overthrows. This ball is tipped by Marquise Lee. And look, Bradley Roby seeing signs of another pick six.
Had a 50-yard pick six earlier, his second 50-plus this season. That's Yeldon. But Salman, what a difference in the second half. Total yards since halftime. Denver 33 and Jacksonville right around 150 now. And this Denver defense has been on the field an awful lot.
They really have. Over 70 plays already in this ball game. They just played Sunday night. Nearly 5 quarters of play in that game.
I have to think fatigue has been an issue. Certainly was the case against the Chiefs. And at the end of that game, Bortles going through the airways on 3rd and 7, thrown into a very tight space. Robinson, the intended receiver, and there comes the flag. At the end of the play, Roby was there.
Roby was holding on to him. I got to tell you, I'm all for these defensive backs.
Pass interference. Defense, number 29. The ball will be placed at the spot of the foul.
Now watch him
Automatic first down.
Watch him get a little grabby there with the left hand. That right hand. Watch. See right there. See how he grabbed it? Sort of grabbed that left arm, but they're trying to keep Von Miller away from their quarterback so far today, doing a really good job.
So it turns out to be a 17-yard penalty. We'll mark it right around the 40. 1st and 10. Bortles underneath. That pass for Yeldon is deflected. Call here is an incompletion. Corey Nelson was there. Nelson has been all over the place. This kid's got some pretty good speed. Got him in the 7th round out of Oklahoma back in 2014. As we get another injured Denver Bronco.
There you're going to see Nelson right there. Just a really good play, but we do have an injured Denver Bronco down on the field.
Looks like it's Billy Wynn, their 5th-year defensive tackle. Came over in free agency in the offseason from Indianapolis. So the Denver trainers, who have been very busy, are once again summoned here. You can see Wynn talking to the trainers. Looks like he has good movement. And the trainer saw him and just Want to be so careful in these situations. Win, one of only 2 backup players that they have active on their game day roster today, with Adam Gotsis on the other side, the former second-round pick out of Georgia Tech.
There he is. Looked like someone fell down on him.
So the trainers continue to look at Win, with the Broncos in front 17-10, 6:06 remaining in this fourth quarter. So we'll step aside on CBS. Good news for Denver, as Billy Wynn is able to walk off on his own. Former 6th-round pick of Cleveland back in 2012, first 3 years with the Browns, as they will take a closer look at him on the sideline. So here we go after the delay, 2nd and 10. Jaguars down 7 with all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Plenty of time left. Bortles thrown, incomplete, intended for Lee. And Roby, who was penalized just moments ago, right there on the coverage.
Much better coverage here by Bradley Roby. Good timing, gets a hand in there and is able to poke that ball out to keep Marquise Lee from hauling it in. It's more like it.
Bortles has missed on his last 4 passes as we hit the 6-minute mark. 3rd and 10. Run play called by Hackett. Interesting here to try to catch Denver off guard, but Justin Simmons, the rookie, was not fooled. Their 3rd-round pick out of Boston College, who's been involved in some critical end-of-game plays. Salman, what'd you think of that play call?
I thought it was a good call, because what do you expect from the Denver Broncos defense? Getting up the field with a strong pass rush, that's when you call that quick hitting draw play, thinking you can increase the defense as they're charging upfield.
This is where field position and your punter are so critical in games. They try to pin them inside the 20, and even further back than that if they can. Nortman is the punter. Raymond will signal fair catch right around the 16-yard line. 38-yard punt. And a tough spot here for Paxton Lynch. 5 and change to play with Denver in front by 7. Reminder to keep it here on CBS after the game for the Subway postgame show. JB, Tony, Bart Boomer, and Coach Cower standing by. They'll have all the latest NFL scores and highlights as Week 13 continues. All that coming up on the Subway postgame show. Your game summary. 2nd career start for Lynch. About 100 miles from his hometown in Deltona. 12 of 23, 104 yards. Pitches here to Booker on 1st down, but the Jags are there defensively. Loss of 2.
Malik Jackson doing a really good job. The former Denver Bronco himself said he wanted to make his presence felt in this game against his former teammates. Said he had to really try to keep the emotions in check and not get too outside of himself. Said he learned that from that first Super Bowl that they played in against Seattle, and the game got away from him so quickly. Thought they were on too much of an emotional high, and learned the second time around to suppress the emotions.
Big part of that Super Bowl championship team in February. Lynch is going to run for it, showing his mobility on the 2nd and 12 play. Lynch falling forward very close to that 1st down marker. It's a pickup of 10.
Lynch doing his best to try to keep his offense on the field after being anemic offensively. Only 33 total yards of offense prior to this possession. Now facing a 3rd and 2, have to be able to convert. Let's see if they're getting out on the edge of the defense, out on the perimeter, where he can have the option of maybe keeping it, running it himself, or throwing it to get the 1st down.
See Denver only 1 for 10 on 3rd downs in this game. 3rd and 2. Lynch going to run it again. Boy, did they trip him up. Shy of the 1st down marker. It was Jackson who got him around the ankles.
Malik Jackson, what a play. He sold out for that one. Watch number 90. Watch him peel back as Paxton Lynch climbs the pocket right there. Look at that. He trips him up because I'm telling you, he's going to get the first down. Right there, he's able to hit that right leg of Paxton Lynch to keep him from getting the first down. What a play by Malik Jackson.
Jackson, the former 5th-round pick at Denver back in 2012, played in 2 Super Bowls for them. Talked about the emotions of going through that free agent process. And you could still sense a little bit of anger as that punt nearly blocked. But didn't get the contract offer that he felt he deserved from John Elway in Denver. 10th punt of the afternoon. That is a 43-yarder as Walters signals fair catch. Saturday college football on CBS proudly brings you the game that marches to its own beat. All guts, all grit, all glory. The Army-Navy game. It starts with special bonus coverage at noon Eastern on CBS Sports Network. That'll be followed by College Football Today right here on CBS. Everbank Field, just outside downtown Jacksonville. Spiro Ditas, Solomon Wilcots, and this one a lot more interesting than it was earlier. 17-10. Bortles and company have a shot under 3 minutes left. That pass is deflected by Jared Crick. Big defensive play for Wade Phillips and company.
I want to go back to Malik Jackson when he left as a free agent. He was one of the first players that freely admitted he had to take advantage of the tax code. He was offered a deal in Oakland. He says in Florida you don't have to pay taxes on wages at the state level. He was like, oh, I couldn't turn that deal down.
Solomon,
it was hilarious.
That was the first. Said that he studied the tax code in multiple states and really factored into his decision. Big defensive play a moment ago. Bortles pass off target on 2nd and 10, and just doesn't seem like those two have the chemistry right now. Something we have alluded to all day, and you see Bortles kind of talking to himself.
You know, it really is about understanding what the coverage is trying to do to you. If they're stacked on top, you have to break it off and make a play underneath. If the coverage is underneath and in your back pocket, then you've got to continue to go downfield. That's where the ball is going to go. But right now, Bortles and his intended receiver, Allen Robinson, not on the same page.
2 down territory?
Not yet. Not yet. They're getting there.
3rd and 10, all 3 timeouts plus the 2-minute warning. Bortles over the middle, finding Walters. But Denver doing what they do. They keep everything in front of them. A pickup of only 4. TJ Ward was there on the tackle, and it looks like Bradley will send out his punt team.
Yeah, I think it's the right thing to do considering where you're at. Now, if they were around midfield, a better field position, then I could see going for it. But right now, I think in terms of down and distance, not favorable to be able to convert.
And Bradley certainly feels good about what his defense is doing. Continuing to confuse Paxton Lynch, keep him in check. Khalif Raymond signals fair catch and walks out of bounds just outside the 20. So 45-yard punt by Brad Nortman will give it back to Lynch. Another reminder, the Subway postgame show comes your way next. JB and the fellas standing by in our CBS studios in New York with the Subway postgame show.
And Spiro, when you have 3 timeouts in your hip pocket, you still have the 2-minute break. So effectively you got 4 timeouts, and you know your defense is playing well. So hopefully you can get a 3 and out here if you're Gus Bradley and use those timeouts judiciously to be able to get the ball back with time left on the clock.
1st and 10, they run it here. This is Juwan Thompson, tackled by Paul Posluszny, and that'll get us to the 2-minute warning. Here in Jacksonville, 17-10, the defending champions trying to put this game away on CBS. Injury update on Billy Wynn. It is a neck. His return is questionable. But right now the focal point, Solomon, on Gary Kubiak's offense trying to put this game away, up 7. Jags have all 3 timeouts left and 2 minutes on the clock.
Now you got to use the timeout here, particularly if the Broncos run the football and you get the stop.
2nd and 8, another run play call. Denver has had 5 possessions as Juwan Thompson is tackled by Dan Scooter. 5 possessions in the second half, Solomon. 4 3-and-outs. They need a first down right here.
No, Gary Kubiak's offense has run it to a stingy and, as we said at the top, a much improved Jacksonville Jaguar defense. Gus Bradley does use that timeout. They're going to try to get a stop here. Paxton Lynch has got to find a way to keep his offense on the field. This is a critical moment like what they had last week, where Gary Kubiak talked about, hey, we had opportunities to put the game away 1 week ago and couldn't do it. This is an opportunity to put this game away simply by getting a first down against Gus Bradley's defense.
So Bradley takes the first of 3 timeouts. There's Paxton Lynch back into the huddle, taking over for the injured Trevor Siemian, who's out today with that sprained left foot. Big moment here for the rookie quarterback out of Memphis. Denver 1 of 11 on 3rd down. Lynch throwing a dart, incomplete. Looking in the direction of Thomas, it was a Mukamara on the coverage, and once again, this Jacksonville pass defense, Solomon, doing its job.
Good coverage, and watch how he stacks on top of Demaryius Thomas. Now, if you're Thomas, you got to fight to get inside and square your shoulders up and show both numbers to the quarterback. You have to, what we call, present yourself as a receiver to the quarterback. In that position, that ball could have easily been intercepted.
Saw Lynch screaming for a pass interference penalty. Felt that Mukamara was kind of wrapping up his man. As we get our 11th punt of the afternoon, that is Walters returning it. 47 yards on the punt, 9 on the return, and Bortles gets another shot here. 2 timeouts left, $1:41 to play as he looks for some late game magic.
Well, you know, Prince Mukamara, you looked at that. I'm going to show you why it's not pass interference. Look where they're at. You get 5 yards to stay in front of the receiver. Look, you're still in front of him. So as long as you're in front of them, you're in great position. You're stacked on top. And that's why that's not a pass interference call.
Bortles going to the airways. That pass off the hands of Lee and incomplete. It was covered by Aqib Talib. So a Jacksonville team that has not won a game since early October, 6 straight losses. Trying to get down the field quickly. It'll be 2nd and 10.
Well, he was able to prevent that ball from being intercepted. It looked like a high throw that Will Parks could have intercepted. Now you are in 4-down territory, Spiro.
Second and 10. Bortles under pressure. That ball comes loose out of his hands. What's the call here? Denver recovers the football. No signal yet by the officials. And it will be Denver football. It was Shane Ray who fell on it. Just an awkward-looking play.
Guess what, though? It's Von Miller who wrecks the play. Watch this. Watch as he comes around. He's going to push the pocket. Gets the soft edge. Look, he just keeps raking. And watch it go for the ball right here. So that ball just comes out. But it's because he's getting a push against the tackle, Jeremy Parnell. And look, right there, it hits the shoulder of Parnell, and that's when the ball comes out. Pressure provided by Von Miller, recovery, Shane Ray.
Saw the football knocked away before Bortles' arm was moving forward. So that is a fumble, live football recovered by Ray. And boy, Sam, we talked earlier about Bortles taking care of the football last week, but then the deflection, the penalty, the interception, it was returned for the pick 6 by Roby. And Bortles accounting for another turnover as that pass protection breaks down in front of him. One play called for Booker. Bronco fans, at least for the moment, exhaling. Bradley, meantime, will take his 2nd timeout with $1:23 to play.
I think that play showed us why Von Miller is certainly, I think, he's the leader in the clubhouse for Defensive Player of the Year. I mean, he clearly wrecked the play for the Jacksonville Jaguars. Watch the tackle, Jeremy Parnell. Watch how he pushes him right back into the quarterback, and then he can't even tuck it away. Tries to throw it and get it out to avoid taking the sack and losing time off the clock. But that ball comes out. Shane Ray smartly falls on it, but that play was presented by Von Miller.
Solomon, you have to think Defensive Player of the Year could be in his near future. What about MVP? I don't think enough people are mentioning him for the league MVP award. He's been that good and that valuable, certainly, for this defense. Maybe even more so than last year because of the inexperience they have at quarterback. As Bradley will take his final timeout. But this guy is just otherworldly Everything he does to wreck opposing offenses week in and week out. There have been only, of course, 2 defensive players that have won the league MVP. Alan Page, of course, back in '71 from Minnesota, and Lawrence Taylor for the Giants in '86. But he's having that kind of year.
When J.J. Watt had 20 or more sacks a couple of years ago, I had him penciled in. But certainly what Von Miller is doing, 3rd consecutive season, double-digit sacks. You know, he came into today's game with 21 hits on the quarterback, 3rd most in the NFL. And you know, with that no-fly zone plan behind him, a lot of those pressures that he gets leads to interceptions on the back end.
And we're looking on here. Jags cannot stop the clock again, so Broncos, of course, run it. That'll get us to 4th down and 70 seconds remaining. Denver had a 17-3 lead, and then Jacksonville's offense kind of woke up, made this interesting. But the 3rd turnover committed by the Jags has put Denver within a minute of getting their record to 8-4.
Von Miller's kind of like a cobra. He just waits to strike at
Yes,
the right moment. You know, he's kind of cruising along. He's making plays all game. And then when they get the Jaguars in one of these critical moments under 2 minutes where you know they have to throw the football, he turns it on. And he just destroys any offensive tackle that's standing in front of him. Gets pressure on the quarterback. He's always looking to get a strip of the ball like we saw in the Super Bowl.
It's a 30-second timeout.
Looks like Denver wants a timeout here just to try to get organized on 4th and 4. I told you about Miller's incredible performance last week, the 3 sacks, the 10 tackles.
Look at that. And there's no weak areas in his game. He can play off the ball. We've seen him drop in coverage, get interceptions in playoff games against Tom Brady. He's excellent in terms of tackling in space in the open field. He plays the run really well, even when double teamed. But when you need a play, he still plays at a high level in terms of getting pressure on the quarterback.
So here is McManus. He's hit from 32. This will be a 41-yard attempt to try to put the finishing touches on Jacksonville. This kick on target and perfect. 20-10, Denver in front. I mentioned those other 2 notable scores that Broncos fans are keeping tabs on as you see another look. Good looking snap by Thomas Gafford, who's on once again for Casey Kreider. But Kansas City, Solomon has won in Atlanta. That one was real tight late, 29-28, so the Chiefs win. They're now to 9-3. And Miami was beaten badly in Baltimore. They were one of the 2 teams in front of Denver in the chase for that wild card spot, but things getting even tighter in the AFC.
So with a win, Broncos moving to that 6th seed ahead of the Miami Dolphins. They got to continue to go to work because next week they take on the Tennessee Titans on the road and then at home against New England. That's a tough schedule. I can tell you right now. You know, Tennessee on the road, as well as they run the football, you better bring your A game. And we know those 2 teams in the division against Kansas City and Oakland to finish out the regular season, that's going to be tough.
Well, all indications are that Trevor Siemian will be able to return to practice and take the reins back from Paxton Lynch at the quarterback position this week. Dealing with that sprained left foot, was in a walking boot all this week after he went down in that overtime period against Kansas City. But my oh my, how interesting things are going to be over the final 4 weeks of the season in the AFC. And meantime, the frustration for Blake Bortles, Gus Bradley, and the entire crew here in Jacksonville continues.
Yeah, it's really tough. You know, but you look at this Jacksonville team, you say, okay, they have talent. Are they missing some pieces? Do they need to add more this offseason? Yes, but they spent more money than anyone this offseason in free agency.
T.J. Yeldon able to cross the 30. Jaguars out of timeouts as they will see their record fall to 2-10 on the season. Could be the final play. It likely will be. Yeldon on the screen pass And that will do it. The Denver Broncos come to Jacksonville and take care of the Jaguars 20-10 as Paxton Lynch wins as an NFL starter for the first time in his rookie season. Gary Kubiak and company get to 8-4 as they inch their way into one of those wild card positions with the Miami loss today in Baltimore. And an updated look. So Denver and Miami flip-flop positions. The Chiefs a winner to get to 9-3. With a couple of big games looming, Oakland will play Buffalo, game that is just kicking off out in Oakland. Oh, once again, it was Von Miller with the critical play late. Slight contact to jar the football loose from Bortles. Shane Ray the recovery, and that just about did it for the Broncos.
And these are the plays the Broncos did not make against Kansas City in the final minute of the fourth quarter or in overtime, and the Chiefs were able to score. At that point, the Broncos were leading 17-10 until Von Miller makes that play to help Denver get 3 more points, and they walk away with a 20-10 win.
Special thanks to our great crew, our producer Ryan Galvin, Andy Goldberg, our director, and everyone else in the truck, Chris Burns, Scott Martin, Ryan Pavlicek, and up here in the booth, our statistician Rusta Lynn and our spotter Rich Gaynor. Again, the final score, the Denver Broncos 20 and the Jacksonville Jaguars 10. Now for Solomon Wilcots, this is Spiro Dinas saying so long from Jacksonville. Coming up next, it's the Subway postgame show with JB and the crew standing by in our CBS studios in New York. We'll take you back to New York for all the latest scores and highlights right after this.